Hello and welcome to the Health Wizard podcast. I'm your host, Yelena Isolde Medici, a health and life coach. I'm so excited that you're choosing to listen to my podcast because you are choosing to make your health your priority. The Health Wizard podcast is dedicated to teaching natural, easy to implement practices that you can use to get your health on track and become the person you used to be before getting sick and the person you're dreaming of becoming again, happy, healthy, full of energy, and living a life filled with joy. Now, very quickly, before we dive into the good stuff, I want to remind you that this podcast is intended for education and entertainment purposes only. This podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you have a medical condition, please seek the help of a licensed medical professional. I am not a medical doctor. I do not treat, diagnose, prescribe, or make claims outside of my areas of expertise. So by choosing to listen to the Health Wizard podcast, you take full responsibility for your own actions. And when you hear the testimonials of the people who were able to get well, realize that their outcomes depended on their effort and their specific situation. With that said, let's jump into today's episode. Please enjoy. Welcome back to the Health Wizard podcast, lovely souls. I've been on a break, getting ready for season 5, and I want to officially welcome you into the season 5 of this podcast. I have a lot planned for you. We're going to cover weight loss, in hormone health, thyroid health, in emotional health, and so much more. Today, we're kicking off this season with a very special conversation about our relationship with our bodies, our food, and yes, weight loss. But before today's episode, a very important announcement. In less than a week, on October 5th of 2021, I'm going to go live in a live workshop to give you all the tools that you need to learn the best diet for reversing thyroid, hormone, and autoimmune disorders naturally so that you can feel better and to lose weight without trying. If you are tired of feeling lost, confused, and frustrated, and if you're tired of trying to figure out the best diet to reverse hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, thyroid nodules, goiters, PCOS, endometriosis, infertility, or anything that has to do with your health or weight loss, then you absolutely want to register for the workshop, tune in, and actually show up and be present. During the workshop, I'm going to show you the top health, thyroid, and hormone-destroying foods, which are probably lurking in your kitchen right now. The worst diets for health, fertility, and weight loss. Which specific diet helps to resolve thyroid and hormone disorder symptoms for good and why, and what specific foods to eat to feel better and lose weight. But I'm going to take it further. I'm going to give you the golden macronutrient ratio that you must follow to ensure permanent health. Then I will give you that precise weight loss formula that allows my clients to drop excess weight effortlessly, even if they already tried every diet and fitness regimen available on the market. And then by the end of that workshop, which is going to be hands-on training for you, I'm going to give you a plan and show you how you can plan your daily meals for energy, for better sleep, robust libido, and a slimmer waistline. So if you've been struggling with symptoms of any of the thyroid hormone or autoimmune conditions, if you've been trying to lose weight but unsuccessfully, you want to make sure to grab your spot immediately. Go to 360impacthealth.com/diet-workshop. Again, 360impacthealth.com/diet-workshop and grab your spot right now. With that announcement out of the way, let's dive into today's topic. Now, you know that billions of dollars are getting spent every single year on weight loss programs, fitness regimens, supplements, and so on. Everybody, and especially women, are in the eternal pursuit of a slimmer waistline. And yet, within a couple of months or less, for most people just a couple of weeks, most people who are starting to diet find themselves giving up. They're not seeing outcomes, or the protocols are too hard and not doable and not sustainable. And they go into this cycle of blaming themselves for the failure, resenting their bodies for not being the dream bodies that you want them to be. And in the process, creating an unhealthy relationship with their food. To give you the best tools that I can give, I invited a good friend of mine, Lydia Knight. She is a health coach to women who are working on resolving and overcoming eating disorders. I believe that her expertise and what she has to say today is going to transform your life so that the next time you want to lose weight in a healthy way, you're going to have an amazing relationship with yourself, with your food, and with the world around you. So without further ado, let's welcome Lydia. Lydia, hi. I'm so excited to welcome you to the Health Wizard podcast. My podcast is dedicated to women and men who are desperate to resolve their thyroid hormone autoimmune conditions. And a lot of the people that I work with, and especially women, find themselves gaining a lot of weight when they're struggling with these health issues. And in the process, what I find is that they form this unhealthy relationship with their bodies, their food, and their environment. Welcome to the Health Wizard podcast. Can we please kick it off with telling a little bit about who you are and why you do what you do?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on, Elena. It's so fun to be here with you. And this is such an incredibly important topic. And I think that especially in the world that we're in, where people are really, waking up to their own knowledge and intuition and, tired of sort of, what they've been advertised and are really looking for what's going to serve them best. And this is such a wonderful thing to talk about really in this timing of the world. So I love it. So yes, I am Coach Lydia Knight, and our mission is to end eating disorders and free women from every cage. And eating disorders, a lot of the women that we coach, they're not seeing what's happening as an eating disorder. But just to give some context, I mean, this is like binge eating, bulimia, overeating, yo-yo dieting, body hate, food obsession. All of those things really fall under the umbrella of a distorted relationship with food. We freed over 1,000 women now from these chains in this cage with food, to just be absolutely normal eaters and be at peace with food in their body for the rest of their lives. And I really do what I do. I struggled for many, many years myself with various eating disorders, sort of like the round and round of just like, the anorexia, and then the binge eating, and then the bulimia, and then it's just the, dysmorphia, all of that. And there was really nothing good out there. There was nothing that was like, here's the way to heal or to cure or to go back to normalcy. It was very much this, well, this is who you are. This is your identity. You're broken. You're never going to be fixed. And I just did not accept that. And so what we started doing is I found the principles to completely end eating disorders. And then we started applying that to people of all sorts of different situations and found that we had a really predictable system to help them out of that. So that's why I do what I do, because freedom is wonderful, but your own personal freedom, I believe, is not enough. When you have something that can help the world, then that should be shared. So that's why.
Isn't it amazing though how for a lot of us the passion that we live now starts with our own struggle. For me, I had hypothyroidism, infertility, and I had a tumor in my head. And it was the same path. My doctors told me once you have this disease, it's there forever. And I said, I beg to differ. If there's no way, I'll create a way. And I did. And now we have freed thousands of people from the same thing. But we had to come from a premise that once sick forever is not the truth. The truth is that we can heal and cure everything that we create. Any disease that we create, we should be able to shed off of ourselves. So it's amazing how we start with our own struggle, but we create this passion that changes the lives of many. So it kind of makes it almost that our struggle was worth it for so many women to be free now.
Oh, absolutely. One thing that, I tell my clients, like the worst part of the story becomes the best part of the story once you're free and on the other side of it, right? It's just like when your struggle turns into something that can be part of your triumph, then there's so much meaning and purpose in that. So yeah, I love that.
Lydia and we went through the same business program many, many years ago. And one of the things that always stuck with me before we even jump into this topic, Lydia, is that you always use the example of the elephant, how the elephants were trained. And don't you have a little tattoo of an elephant somewhere?
It was actually a client of ours that got a little elephant tattoo to symbolize like her freedom after decades of an eating disorder being free. So it was actually a client of ours that got that little elephant tattoo. So the way that elephants are trained is when they're little baby elephants, then a rope is tied around their neck and tied to a post, and they pull and they pull and they pull and they struggle and they don't stop struggling and they try everything to get free. until there comes a breaking point where they realize they can't. They can't get free, they can't break the rope, and they stop trying and they never try again. So what happens is this happens as a baby elephant, and as they grow into adult elephants, then that adult elephant can just start walking and snap that rope at any point. But the way that they stay trapped, the way they stay tethered is because they stopped trying. And actually, I found this out about the story later on. But it's not only that they have an adult elephant that could snap the rope at any time, they put the rope around their neck, tie it to a post, and they stay there and they don't try and they don't move, even though they could break it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually, Elena, that they don't even have to tie the rope to anything. An adult elephant can just have the rope around its neck, hanging in the wind, and it will stay right there and it will not move and it will not try to struggle because it just has the belief that I've tried that, I can't do it. And so we really, utilize that story and that metaphor with our clients because the thing is that there's so many, like, there's so much possibility for freedom. There's so much that we can do. I'm sure that you see this all the time, Elena, is like people stop trying or they stop believing in themselves or that it's possible for them because they've tried so much and they've struggled so much and they just have this idea that they can't. But when you wake up to, wow, I can actually break this rope or literally start walking because there's nothing this rope is tied to, then just knowing that and having a way and a knowledge around that is something that saves lives. So yeah, that's
It's a powerful story. It's a powerful metaphor because I actually find in my practice that sometimes my little elephants want to go find a rope to stand under, even though you already say, run, babies, run, right? And you and I, as coaches, we experience that. We give the outline to women, and some of them are so hesitant because there is this, I've tried this, I wasn't successful. There is this defeated mindset that's saying it can't happen for me. So the biggest breakthrough that I find, and this is very pertinent to this conversation that happens in our clients and most possibly in yours, is that they finally realize that they don't have to be bound to that lie anymore.
Yeah, because at first, rope life feels safe, right? It's the devil that you know, it's familiar. But then once you just take a few steps even beyond that, of like, wow, like I really, like freedom is so much better than the safety of this cage, then I find that, the momentum of that, of like tasting that for the first time and being able to know what freedom is like when you haven't felt it for so long is just, it starts being motivation all on its own.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and with that caveat, let's talk about this because you focus on women being free from eating disorders. As a woman and working with majority of my clients are women, I find that most of us have a distorted relationship with food, even though we don't call it eating disorder. So we reserve the name eating disorder for people with bulimia and anorexia and binging disorders. But most, especially people in the Western society where the food is so void of nutrients and so rich in calories and it's so stimulating to the palate, they develop this relationship with food that is not healthy. And when we add and bring in hormone disorders, which come from those eating disorders, it's a different thing because in my industry, I see women chasing after a different diet, hoping that it would reverse a hormone or a thyroid condition. So our women come to us and they already have this relationship with where they tried in my industry AAP diet and the keto and the paleo. Very few do the plant-based diet, which is saving grace for most. But even in those, a lot of the times the nature of restrictiveness is applied so much that I find when I talk to women, they say, I'm afraid of food. And then we have another spectrum where hormone imbalances create a hormone imbalance in the body so much that the women can't lose the weight. And so hypothyroidism and such. So it becomes a vicious cycle for them. They want to heal themselves, but they want to lose weight and they're willing to do whatever it takes. I work with somebody who paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to lose just the 20 pounds, and I couldn't believe it. So I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how we as a society were programmed to have this love-hate relationship with food and why.
absolutely. This is such a great, great topic. So starting with a premise of just there's incentive for the diet industry to keep this going, right? There's a $78 billion diet industry that really benefits from people doing whatever the latest fad diet is that's released and over and over and over, because there's that glimmer of hope of this will be the thing and I'll lose it and I'll keep it off. And oh, well, this is going to be different than before. But it's the same thing that it has always been as the diet industry has grown, right? The number one cause of disordered eating, of our relationship with food being broken down, of compulsive eating, all of that, the number one cause is restrictive dieting. So the dynamic that's happening is that the diet industry says, here is the solution, right? It gives us this solution of like, here's the diet, do this. And then it might work, I'll put that in quotes, temporarily, right? Where some weight is lost. And the diet industry says, look at this gift that I gave you, you lost the weight. And then we gain it all back plus some 98% of the time in the first couple of years. And it goes to like 100% of the time after that. Like it's something that obviously statistically doesn't, like it does not work. It's super, super clear.
Yeah, when you take big people, we have Janie Craig and Oprah now in the weight loss industry, and you throw their big names, and everybody goes, "Well, if they can do it, if they are endorsing it, it must be good for us, right?" We're really screwed
but
up
if
in
even
that
the
sense.
most powerful, successful, intelligent people in the world can't be successful at it, it's just like, there's something going on here, right? So on the way back up, right, when you're gaining all the weight back plus some, then the diet industry says that's your fault. The weight loss, we take credit for that. All the weight gain, that's your fault. You're broken. You know what you really need is another diet, right? But the restrictive dieting teaches our body to gain weight in so many different ways. We're literally teaching our body to gain weight. So disordered eating is a natural result of restrictive dieting, and disordered eating teaches our body to gain weight. And the diet industry is putting the very same bottle of stuff that it's giving us that has a label on it that says solution, and it's the same poison that's poisoning us, right? It's just like, so
we're the only species when we keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like Einstein said, we are doing the same dumb stuff and we expect different outcomes. Going from keto to paleo to lose some weight does not make us smarter. It just makes us more prone to being programmed to be a part of that 78 billion, you said? Dollars industry. Yeah. Almost 100% failure rate, and we're still lining up as, especially in women. I'm seeing it in men a lot too now, but especially in women. And there's this relationship, come and fix me. But I want to zero in on the fact that you mentioned right now, that by dieting, we are actually training our bodies to gain weight. Talk to me about that.
So this is not something that's just like a theory of maybe this is happening. This is biologically and psychologically how it works to teach your body and to signal it to gain weight. And we'll just go over a few things here. We could talk for hours and hours about this because it is, and it's no coincidence, right, that the diet industry puts plans out there that teach your body to gain it all back plus some, because what does that prompt you for? Another diet, right? It's like, well, we're in a worse place than we were before, so now we have to go on another diet. So let's talk about the physical factors. So set point weight. We all have a set point weight where it's sort of like a thermostat where, we eat a little bit more, our metabolism speeds up, it takes us down to our set point weight. We eat a little bit less, we get a little bit more hungry, we eat some more, it takes us up to our set point weight. So there's a set point weight that our body likes to be at. Now, every single time that you go on a restrictive diet, there is a 33% chance that you are permanently pushing up your set point weight. So it's not only that we're gaining it back plus some, is that, and you can see this if you've dieted for a while and you're listening to this, just look at your own history over your life. Hasn't it gotten harder and harder and harder to get to your goal weight? Hasn't your low weight gotten higher and higher over time? Hasn't your high weight gotten higher and higher over time? It's because the restricted dieting is teaching our body to actually be permanently larger. And let's think about this. I mean, we all have inherited genetics of many, many generations of people that our genetics are primed to keep us in survival and to keep us from starving. So if there is a famine, I'll put that in quotes, right? If all of a sudden you're dropping your calories and you're cutting out all these food groups every Monday or every first of the month, it's a signal to your body of this person is not in a stable environment where they can just get food anytime. There's a famine. that comes around every Monday. It's crazy. So what does this person need? This person needs more long-term fat storage. It needs the long-term storage that once the famine comes, then they're going to be able to still survive. So it literally signals the body to have more fat that doesn't go away because we are teaching the body that it is unsafe and that we're going into starvation over and over and over.
And this goes not only with dieters, but people who exercise. So the bodybuilders, right? The people who love to hit the gym, they have their cheat days. So it's almost the same cycle when they eat cleanly and then they have the cheat day and they go overboard. That would teach the same thing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. So that's another physical thing that happens, Elena, is that you are in a situation where a lot of times it turns into the binge and the restrict, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to, restrict my calories. I'm going to lose the weight. And then we feel restricted and it's been too long. And then we just, okay, well, I'm just going to have a cheat meal and it turns into a cheat day or a whole cheat weekend, right? So by eating less, you slow your metabolism. That's how your metabolism works because of survival, right? It's like if this person is getting less food, then your body slows your metabolism so it can survive on less food. And then with that slow metabolism, then we pile this huge amount of calories on top of our slow metabolism. And so a lot of that gets stored as fat because it's like, oh my gosh, we've got to hold on to all these calories. And our metabolism that is so slow now can't handle this. So that's cyclical. And that's really where the disordered eating gets into because that cycle turns into a habit where we're restricting and then we're binging and then we're really scared that we binge so much so we have to restrict even more and then it actually turns into a habit and a compulsion and a loop that teaches our body to gain weight. So those are just a couple of physical things that come up. Psychologically, there is a mental restriction of, we'll just do a little game right here. Everyone listening can play. I want you to imagine a world where there is no more chocolate after midnight tonight. There's no more chocolate. There's never going to be chocolate. It's not just a chocolate shortage. Like you will never have the opportunity to have chocolate for the rest of your life. What are you going to have tonight? What are you going to have today in large quantities, right?
Well, only if you're a chocolate lover, of course.
Right.
For me, you're going to have to talk about bread shortage. I'm like, dang, I'm going to go get some.
Yep. So whatever it is, and you can literally have that be any food group, right? So any food group that you psychologically know is going away, there are physical cravings that are going to be driven up in that, where you're going to want that thing in large quantities more than anything else. So imagine a dieter's history where in the 80s, they cut out fat, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone's binging on things that are fatty. Then everyone's like cut out sugar. Now everyone's binging on sugar. Well, now you go on this other diet where you don't eat carrots. And now when you run into carrots, then you just like go way overboard. Like you cut out more and more things, you villainize, you have a morality around more and more food groups and foods. So you have these cravings that feel compulsive around more and more foods.
Right. So, restrictions does not work. If anything, restriction, I find it encourages rebellion. Because the moment you say to a child, you cannot have it, and I've seen it with adults every single day, the moment you say you cannot have it, they want it. So for example, I do have some extreme cases come to me. They're sometimes in wheelchairs and they're barely moving, and we need to put them on an elimination diet just to find out if the food is making them sick. Mm-hmm. And it's short term, so I don't believe in any long-term restriction of anything. But the moment you say you can have it, they freak out. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Where do I get my protein? Where do I get that? I'm like, chill out. It's only a few days, but the human innate need goes, but I want to eat it now. Don't tell me no. And exactly. It's very interesting. I've seen women turn into children very quickly over this.
And it's really it's the natural effect, right? A lot of times when people have a struggle with food or a struggle with their body, they think something's wrong with them. But it is literally a healthy brain and a healthy body reacting to a system that teaches your body to store fat and to have cravings. So the other things that happen is your hunger and fullness signals go away. Like if your body doesn't think that you can have enough food, then it's going to literally turn off your fullness signals, where you might have had the experience where you can just, that you ate dinner, that you've had enough food, but you want a second helping, and then you want dessert, and then you want a snack in front of the TV. It's like, it's this is sort of insatiable hunger. So both physically and psychologically, we teach our body in all sorts of different ways. And I'm sure, I mean, Elena, you would know about this, is all the hormonal things that happen, right? Like, hormonally, we're teaching our body to gain weight because there are hormones that teach your body to store fat, and they happen to be the very same hormones that go along with stress, like cortisol. And when you are so stressed about what you eat, and when you don't know what to eat, and when you're scared about going to this party because there's going to be this food there, and when you're thinking about food all the time, and when you're worried that you're not going to fit into your clothes anymore, you have a hormonal recipe in your body that is also teaching your body to gain weight, to store fat, to be heavier, to never be lighter, to push up your set point weight. Like it's a science of the very things that we are taught to lose weight teach our body to gain weight, not just short term, but long term and permanently.
Right. And it's so amazing that we are psychologically so easily programmed. The very promise of lose a few pounds and what? Right? We are somehow conditioned that we are somehow worth more with a smaller waistline.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart. It angers me in so many ways that the industry is doing it, especially with the advent of Instagram, where you see everybody who is fake and snatched, and lips are filled, and behind is filled, and fat is taken out, or maybe just filters. But we're teaching our children and ourselves that there's this unattainable standard of beauty that we need to attain in order to become good enough to be loved by ourselves first. So I find that the dieting industry, this whole idea of lose weight to be better, already sets us up for failure.
Absolutely. And what women are really taught from the time that they're born is that thinness is associated with not just beauty, but thinness is success, thinness is self-control, thinness is worth, thinness, it really just gets wrapped into everything. And one thing that you can just look at and really see what comes up for you, listening here today, is when you think about really fulfilling your wildest dreams of like success and the career that you want, or the family that you want, or the relationship that you want, or the house that you want, or the life that you want. Can you imagine that without being thin?
Mm.
And it just brings into clarity of like, we live in a society that is attached to everything, like at any cost, really sane, incredible, successful women that have done so much and succeeded in so much and have like developed themselves in an incredible way where they're helping others and they're spiritually evolved, and all of this will still do things that they know are insane because it seems worth it to just be thin. Whether it's swallowing some parasite that's going to live in their intestines, or permanently like injuring their bodies through a surgery that's going to amputate parts of their organs. Like just it's thin at all costs, and that you cannot be who you want to be or lovable or successful unless you attain that. So it creates the not just the standard of beauty, but it just connects it with every aspect of life.
But it also creates this it's a hate relationship with the body. I've spoken with many women, and mind you, when I work with somebody, I go health first. If weight loss happens, it's a bonus, but it will never be my goal, because I want us to love our bodies where as you already mentioned, that idea of an ideal body and chasing after it creates a lot of stress, and stress releases hormones in the body that encourage weight gain, right? So it's the chicken and egg, it's the horse and the car. You put them all together and you will never, it's the circular motion of never being happy with who you are. And when you're not happy with a part of you, just this very idea that you're not happy with your weight, you start to reject your body. And here's the interesting thing, Lydia. When you start rejecting that body, the body is a living, breathing being. It's not, as we were taught in the Western society, it's not a machine, not a house we're walking in, as religion would teach us. We're going to leave this house behind and we're going to leave and go be with God somewhere. Your body is you. Your body is a relationship that you're having with yourself. The moment you start rejecting a part of you because maybe of a little bit of weight, the body rebels and starts getting sick. because your body is like this beautiful, if you think about a relationship between a man and a woman, right? Or between whoever, between partners, and one partner is rejecting the other, you can reject somebody only so much before the other side starts rebelling and does things to get your attention, to say, love me as I am, accept me as I am. What I find with my clients a lot, they start developing illnesses. And that is the hormone imbalances. Autoimmune conditions are huge. The moment you get into any trauma of self-loathing, you're very, very prone to developing an autoimmune condition, because it's your body's way to attack itself the way you attack yourself emotionally. So if I look in the mirror, Lydia, right now and say, ooh, those extra 10 pounds, I just hate it, I want it to go away. And the body goes, oh, you want me to hate myself? Well, let me go and attack some of my inner selves too.
Yeah.
So an autoimmune response is oftentimes a reflection of our relationship with our bodies. Most people don't want to realize that. So one of the things that I do first is I teach people how to love themselves through their journey of getting well. You probably see it with your clients when they come to you and they have this ideal body they're imagining, and they're holding on to this love that they want for themselves until one day they get there.
Yeah. I will be happy and okay when, right?
Yeah.
And rejecting themselves now.
Yeah. Yeah. And when that happens, what happens is, even if we get to that goal weight, there's a 98% chance that we will not stay there, because we did not form a loving relationship with our bodies, with ourselves on the journey there. Because if we had, and if we done it in a healthful way, when we arrive, we'd be like, oh, good, I'm feeling better, I'm healthier, but I didn't have to be here. I could be 100 pounds heavier and still love myself all the same.
Yeah. And that's such an important thing. And I love that you bring that up, Elena, because like our bodies listen to us. We're in a relationship the whole time, and our
Yes.
bodies are so loyal. They will respond in a way to protect us and in a way to, and they're so good at healing as well. But we do so much that gets in the way of that healing, like rejecting ourselves every day. And it manifests in
Yeah.
all sorts of different ways.
Well, and in our industry, women, you probably end up with a lot of women who have hormonal issues or thyroid issues, because we reject the bodies, and the bodies go, well, if you reject me, I'm going to pay back in a way, right? You need to pay attention. This is a living, breathing, ongoing relationship. And what you just said is so brilliant, that they are so good at healing themselves. If we create an environment of just love, the body is able to shed down wanted weight, unneeded weight. But you need to love yourself to weight loss, not to count your calories to weight loss, not to live 5 hours at the gym. And I love movement. I'm a hiker. I love kayaking. I do a lot of things. But listen, over COVID, I was more at home, as most of us were. And I put on a few pounds, and then I had a hip injury. I didn't stop loving me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is who I am, just a little fuller cheeks. And if I can love myself now, I'm fine. Then we need to create this loving relationship so the body can heal. So the body
Absolutely.
can produce the hormones that are necessary for your heart to beat, and for your reproductive system, and for your eyesight, and for all the wonderful things that we need. But I think it's also very important, because we are speaking to a large audience of women, that we create this beautiful relationship with our bodies, because we also have the next generation of women watching us.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love it. And just so incredibly important to allow our bodies to heal and feel safe throughout any circumstance, right? Like that is unconditional love, isn't it? It's just
Yes, it's so amazing that you said that. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about what unconditional love means. Unconditional love is accepting everything as is, without the need or the desire to change somebody. But
yeah.
back to you, that was just beautiful.
And one thing that we talk about, with our clients is like when you think about your children, right? It's like you love them at what weight?
Hmm. Hmm.
Unconditional love means that no matter how this person changes or how they change and how they look, that we'll continue to love them, and that opens up that portal for healing all along the way. And when we can extend that same love toward ourselves, it's so phenomenally powerful, because the truth is that our bodies will change. We will all age, we will all die. Like that is an inescapable truth.
Yes.
And what's interesting about our society is that we have this dynamic where it's like, well, if you just do all the right things, you won't age and you won't die. Spoiler, like it's
I
happening to us all.
know.
So if we
We're
do
all
not,
headed in the same direction,
right,
loved
we're
ones.
all going to the same place. Like if we do not find a way to unconditionally love our bodies and ourselves and how we will guaranteed change, then you're leaving years of love and acceptance and truly living on the table. And it's like, do you want that? Do you want that
Mm.
life?
Yeah,
Because
on your deathbed,
just
are
learn
we
to love
really going
yourself.
to regret that we didn't lose the extra 10 pounds, or are we going to think about all the moments that we missed out with ourselves and our loved ones? You and I see women who are not in pictures because they're too ashamed to be in them, don't we?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. And it's like those memories and that life is yours and it happens right now and it happens today. And I want to be really clear that it's not a choice. You're not choosing between your happiness or your health. They're the same thing.
Mm.
Unconditional love and acceptance and being okay where you're at right now doesn't mean, well, then I'll just let myself go and throw, any sort of wishes of health out the window. It's the same thing. The love is the health. The acceptance is the you being able to be at your best self. The loving yourself now means that you're able to get where you want to go. Like, and we're pitted against ourselves in that way of like, well, if you accept yourself, then you're never going to change and you're just going to, let your health descend into this abyss. And that's just the lie that perpetuates this whole problem.
Well, and it benefits the industry, doesn't it? I remember many years ago when I was just starting out in coaching, I had people reach out to me, and one of the big complaints with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's was, I'm gaining weight. And it's like, okay, well, this is my way in, not to make money, but it was to teach them about a healthy diet. And so I had weight loss program, which was really just healthy eating program. But even with that, I grew to loathe the idea of soliciting something in a way that, well, let's do it for weight loss. I just went into a different direction. Let's heal ourselves and the body can lose the weight itself. So even though my premise initially was like, it's my carrot, let's get you to eat healthy. You think you're to lose weight, which will happen, but it really heals your body. But I found the best way in is to go it's a different route than the industry is taking. They want us to loathe a part of ourselves so we can get to the other. And we both want our clients to embrace themselves so they can heal and they can create that health.
Yeah,
It's a back end entrance, but it's really the front end the way it was designed.
yeah. And Elena, I just really want to celebrate your integrity in that because I mean, there are some people out there that just don't know and they think that weight loss is healthy and the focus on that works, right? But for those of us who have been around for a while, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, like the thing is that you know what works and you know what doesn't work. And there is definitely like an incentive for a coach to tack on weight loss because it sells, because there's a $78 billion diet
I
industry.
could make so much more money right now saying I have the best way. Listen, all I need to do, I have an app. I just need to solicit it as the weight loss program and I'll have millions sign up, but the integrity has to be there.
Yeah, it has to be. It's like it, the commitment to doing what works. And that's really what we believe is like our clients want to know the truth. They want to know what works. They don't want to just be sold the thing that sells. Like they want a permanent solution.
Because we
So I
get
just,
tired. We get tired, aren't we, as women? We have this unreachable, unattainable picture of what beauty is. And we get tired chasing after it. Isn't it much easier? And this is where I really want us to focus on here is, isn't it it's easier and less stressful to love ourselves as we are?
yeah. And
It
we don't
brings
always know
peace
the
and
way to
almost
do
I just,
that. That's why we have each other.
yeah, just this exhale, right? The moment you tell somebody that I love you as you are, love yourself as you are, the internal brain, the lizard brain that was programmed to hate itself, will fight for a little bit. Eventually, even the lizard brain goes, I can finally breathe.
Absolutely. And that is a good life. That I can breathe, I'm loved, I'm accepted. That is the life where your body can step in and do what it does best to heal and repair and improve. And it's not your job. Like, it's not our job to beat our heart or breathe our lungs. Like, it's our job to love ourselves and end the cycles that we're in and let our body do what it does best, which is heal.
I watched a video of, I think it was one of your events that you were doing, and one of the women was talking, and she said how her life changed after she worked with you, or when she, as she's working with you, that she finally had a moment of what there was peace in her life. I found it to be so beautiful. And this is for me, I want to empower women to be the best that they can be. And that means whether you're size 2 or size 12, I don't care.
Mhm.
Because if, listen, like you said, if you created that new set weight point for yourself that is now 20 pounds heavier than it was before, let's get you there. And then you just fall freaking in love with you and go change the world. And then as you love yourself, maybe, just maybe, your body will create a new set point that's a little lower. And even if it's a pound a year, it's still okay. But when I listened to that woman speak, it just brought so much joy to my heart. It's just, I felt like you set a little elephant free. Like, run, baby, run.
Yeah, run, baby. Like, yeah.
And I believe it's so important, and this is why I love having you here, is by freeing us ourselves as women, the women we're around, is we're giving the permission to our children, our girls and our boys. And you have a daughter and I have a daughter, and they're watching us also closely. We're giving them the permission, the gift of never judging themselves. What can be more powerful than that? My daughter watches me closely. My daughter had seen me through all of my weight and where I am, and feeling beautiful. And I always showed confidence to her.
Yeah.
My daughter does not question her body because I told her that she's beautiful as she is. I told her, not just told her, I showed her by loving myself,
Yeah.
by changing to go to the pool together, and she hugs me, and my belly goes, "Mommy, you're so beautiful." And I go, "Yes, thank you."
That's so awesome. I love that. Receiving a compliment. If the women of the world just practiced receiving a compliment, like, yeah. And I love that, Elena. It's so, so beautiful. And our daughters, they do watch us. And a lot of times we think if we just give our kids everything and tell them that they're beautiful and love them
Mm,
unconditionally, then they're going to be okay. But honestly, the biggest difference that we make is they're much more likely to become who we are
yes.
than who we tell them
Yes.
that they can be. And so when we show that confidence, when we show that acceptance, when we show that self-love, that is their best chance in this world to have that themselves.
Yeah. And to all the women and men watching and listening right now, there's not one bigger plea that I can ask for than this. We need to model self love to our children. We can't attain world's peace until there's peace within ourselves.
Yeah.
We cannot ask for the governments to put down their weapons and stop fighting until we all fall deeply in love with ourselves, and then the wars will stop. And if we teach our children the same principle, the addictions go away, the eating disorders go away, the competition goes away, the self loathing goes away, the self distraction goes away. And what we create is a beautiful generation that can thrive full of ideas and brilliance. But it starts with us, because we're the ones who have the power to model that. One thing that I want to ask you, Lydia, for a woman right now or a man who is watching and they're realizing that they're seeing themselves in our conversation,
Mhm.
what would be the first steps that you advise they take in order to start changing this relationship with their body and the food?
Yeah, great, great question. So, Elena, one of really the best resources out there, really that foundation is there are really 5 principles that are the foundation to really ending the binge eating or the compulsive eating permanently, and really taking you toward this place of health, right? Because once we get that cycle, once we're out of that cycle, then our bodies can heal. So we actually have a free masterclass that we offer people, the 5 elements to end binge eating. But whatever it is that compulsion or cycle that you're in, these same really principles and elements are going to be the best foundational resource. So people can just go to lifewithlydia.com, and then there's a link right there that'll take you to the free masterclass. And that'll walk you through really the 5 elements that are going to be essential for ending this. And that's the perfect place to start.
Fantastic. And until they register for the class, is there a thought or a mantra that you can leave for them to think that can start them on that path?
There's a really beautiful phrase that I love to ask myself and ask others in conversations is am I willing to see it another way?
Mm.
And the next time that you go to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to, cut out this food for the next few days to, jumpstart this, or, well, I can't be happy until, or I can't wear that until I look this way. Just noticing those internal patterns coming up and just asking the question of, am I willing to see it another way? Because what that does is that really opens up your mind to start seeing new possibilities, getting you out of those old patterns, helping you to receive the next right step for you. And that's going to be just a really important thing, just examining and being aware of those internal cycles, because as soon as you see that pattern, then you can start changing it.
Okay, it's beautiful, isn't it? Am I willing to see it another way? One of the things that I also would love for all of you listeners to test at home, this is a challenge that my clients and my readers and listeners are taking on right now, is giving yourself 10 meaningful compliments a day.
Mm.
And start by getting in front of a mirror and getting an eyeful of who you are and seeing the wonderful things that you can compliment. And then I love for people to watch how their body reacts, because it's amazing that we find sometimes women, they will tell another woman that she's beautiful or their child, but the moment she starts saying beautiful, she feels like, to herself, she feels like the words are stuck in her throat. And I want to see, because if you feel like that, if your body reacts and it almost revolts, that means there's deep-seated trauma in your body that needs to be released. And if it's not released, it's making you live in that stress mode where you're producing cortisol and producing hormones of stress, which lead to hormone imbalances. So by simply starting off with 10 compliments a day, or whenever you can do 30 compliments a day. Right now, my clients got to the point like 10 is nothing. We'll do 10 times that. And it's fantastic, but start with, you're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're meaningful. So 10 compliments. You do a great job in the kitchen. You're a great cook. It just things to start simply accepting you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia, where can my listeners find you? So lifewithlydia.com is your website. Where else are you?
Yes, absolutely. So lifewithlydia.com, lydiavideo.com is a really great resource that'll take you to our channel on YouTube. And we have a whole playlist on like body positivity and acceptance, which I think would go really beautifully along with, the challenge that your readers and listeners and watchers are doing right now, Alina. We have our recovery freedom stories playlist that is, people who have gone on this journey before you that are now completely free and have found that self peace and acceptance and health and, freedom from those compulsions. And then we come out with, a new video every Monday. So I would say between the masterclass at lifelydia.com and lydiavideo.com, it's LYDIA video.com. Those would be some really great resources for people to just take that step on the journey to self-love and acceptance and healing.
Oh, thank you so much, Lydia, for being on the Health Wizard podcast. I know that this conversation needs to be repeated over and over and over again until we can free the women from this horrible relationship that we form with food and simply fall in love with ourselves first. As you said, because when we fall in love with who we are, we will make healthy food choices. You cannot possibly love yourself and go to McDonald's. You cannot line up and sit with a bag of chips in front of TV if you love yourself, because when you love yourself, you nourish and nurture yourself to health. This is, if I love my daughter right now, I'm not going to give her Twinkies all day long. I'm going to give her carrots and apples and we're going to go have fun together. That's what we do with ourselves. When we fall in love with who you are, our relationship changes with ourselves, and therefore we'll make healthy choices away from binge eating, away from anorexia, away from bulimia, and also away from the judgments, away from the bad foods. It will be just perfect homeostatic place where your body can heal. So,
Yeah.
Lydia, thank you so much. Your wisdom is so much appreciated and so much needed in this world right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Health Wizard podcast. Make sure to go to lifewithlydia.com, check out the masterclass, go to her YouTube channel. I love it. And I also found you on Facebook there, those videos. Lydia is extremely entertaining. In my alternate life, I would be Lydia because she's just funny as heck. Some of her videos just make me laugh. She'll make you laugh, but she'll also teach you through laughter how to love yourself. Check it out, give her a follow, and always remember, that at the end of the day, no dieting can heal you, no pills, no medicine can heal you. It's you, the healer within you, who can unleash your inner ability and your inner power to heal yourself. With that said, have a fantastic rest of the day. We wish you health and happiness. And remember to register for the Medici Code Unlock Your Health and Weight Loss Workshop. I will be holding it on Tuesday, October 5th of 2021 at 6 o'clock Central Time. During the workshop, I'm going to give you the keys to identify the best diet for your specific health situation. And of course, as you heal through the process of nourishing your body will start healing itself, getting rid of the symptoms, one of which is excess weight. So head on over to 360impacthealth.com/diet-workshop, and I will see you there. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the Health Wizard podcast, and please don't forget to tell others about it. If you would like to get more information about me and what I do, how I help amazing human beings just like you to achieve their dream health, go to www.360impacthealth.com. Go to the contact page and shoot me a note. Thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you on the next episode of the Health Wizard podcast. This is your host, Yelena, wishing you optimal natural health.